everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Dish out on the movies. Today we're doing another Frankenstein movie
This
review.
one is called The Toast of Frankenstein. It's all about a Frankenstein toast. And it comes to life.
What are you doing?
It's like, oh shit, it's a scary breakfast and Dr. Frankenstein is divorced.
Okay, this bullshit, okay?
The Toast of Frankenstein. Like, I feel like it would be really funny. Like, you know, like, I guess SNL could do it, or American Dad. You know how, like, they parody, like, different shows and movies? Like, they'll show, like, a parody version of, like, whatever movie. Well, it would be really funny because I feel like it is kind of like a joke of, like, what can we name next for the Frankenstein sequels? Like, blank of Frankenstein. And so they could just have a montage of, like, oh, look! There's a Frankenstein marathon on television! It's running for 5 weeks straight! And you could just have, like, the toast of Frankenstein, the girlfriend of Frankenstein, the boyfriend of Frankenstein, and it would just keep going on and on and on. Wouldn't that be funny, Safi?
No.
Why? Well, this one's called Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. How do you feel about... Because I think it actually makes it sound classier than if they just called it Frankenstein versus the Wolfman, because it's not really a versus movie.
No.
You know, they do meet, though, and...
But the thing is, the Wolfman is not the Wolfman for the whole movie in front of Frankenstein. Now, he is during the movie at intermittent times. But he doesn't really develop as a Wolfman, I don't believe, in front of Frankie until the end. And that's when he just wants to die. He doesn't want to live anymore. And Frankenstein, I think, although it's really weird because in the last movie, wasn't Bela? Didn't he have Bela's brain in the last movie?
What?
And he was supposed to talk? Well, he's back to not talking.
Yeah, the monster. Well, what happened was they had test screenings for the movie, and people laughed at it, and so they got rid of it. I guess they reshot stuff, and they would literally just take scenes and just mute his lines. Which, I don't know, like, I'm kind of mixed about it, because I hated when he talked in the last movie. I thought it was terrible, it was goofy, it was bad, but...
No, it was better when he talked, when he met that blind man, because that was more natural. He just said words. I mean, when you're raising children,
but Safi,
they don't talk in complete sentences.
Safi, this is Igor.
Beginning.
This is Igor. That's not
I know that,
the monster's brand.
No, that's true.
So that's the point. So I'm kind of mixed about it because I would have just been curious to see what Bela Lugosi's like acting would have been like if he had gotten to speak while he was in the makeup. Like, would it have made a difference? Like, I don't know, because maybe maybe it was just because of Lon Chaney's acting that it looked bad. I don't know. But it's unfortunate they haven't been able to find any footage where he talked. But I do think it is a little bit of a weakness of the movie, because overall, I love the movie. I think it's a great movie.
Really?
It's a classic Universal Monsters film for its flaws and all. I mean, you know, Safi says that I'm mean about every movie, and now she's getting mad at me for liking this movie. It's just so hypocritical.
I didn't.
It's not even funny. But
the only part I liked, which I thought was very natural, was the part with the Wolfman.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to live anymore. He's been told he's gonna, because what happened was originally the gypsy's son was a werewolf, and he bit Lon Chaney Jr., the Wolfman. His name's Larry Talbot. And he turned him into the Wolfman. And the gypsy said, well, you're just going to be like this forever. Nothing can kill you. And so she's a character actress, and she is in quite a bit of the movie. I'd say 75%.
Well, what I have to say, though, is because I was trying to make a point earlier, was that one of the weaknesses of the movie, because Safi was just trying to jump ahead, but one of the weaknesses of the movie is that the Wolfman meets Frankenstein, and it's just kind of like, oh, well, why do they form this relationship? And it would make sense if in the script they had written it that way to where, he's not talking, but you can tell that he clearly was meant to talk, and that's how they would form a relationship, is that they'd talk to each other. And so I think that was a missing element of the movie, because they're kind of friends through the whole movie until the end. Until the end. And
that's when you see the verses.
Yeah. And so we start off the movie with what I think is one of the best opening scenes in horror, where you have these two grave robbers who visit Larry's grave. And so this is basically like a sequel to The Wolfman as well. Yeah. And I think that's why, because I wouldn't say that this is a great Frankenstein movie.
No, it's more of a Wolfman movie, I think.
Yeah, I would say, though, it's a great Wolfman movie. It is a top-tier Wolfman sequel.
Well,
so
it's a tragedy. He's living a tragedy.
Well, but you start off with that opening scene, because Safi's interrupting me again. That opening scene where the Wolfman, it's like they come upon his tomb,
mausoleum.
And it's really creepy, and you have the atmosphere of the cemetery around them, and then the Wolfman comes to life and he kills one of the guys off screen. I mean, that was a really actually pretty scary opening scene, and that was like one of the scenes from the Universal monsters that would scare me as a kid, because they didn't even really show a lot of his face in that scene. Mm-hmm. And so it was really creepy. And I thought that was really effective. And I think, too, the Wolfman is scarier in this movie than he was in his own movie. Safi wouldn't know because she gave up on the Wolfman.
No, I didn't. I watched it. What are you talking about?
Did you ever see the first one?
I thought you have two concurrent storylines, and frankly, the Frankenstein one, I don't get what that was supposed to be. But
I think that it was basically like just trying to fix the last movie, because it's like a conclusion to the bad stuff of last movie.
I guess so.
Like the thing with him talking, we're going to get rid of that. And then, I guess, we're not going to really jump ahead because Safi and her bad reviewing etiquette, but then they have this whole stuff with the Wolfman, and one of the things that I love is they have the gypsy woman come back from the Wolfman. And, she's really good.
She is.
And I loved seeing her. That was definitely one of the high points of this movie. But then you get to see the Wolfman out in the middle of the night in the city attack a police officer. I thought that was great. That was creepy. That was like, we've never gotten to see this before, except in the Benicio del Toro version.
Oh.
And so I thought that was awesome. And then I loved it when the Wolfman discovers the monster in ice,
but he digs him out. Larry Talbot then, though, right? When he discovered him in ice, he was Larry Talbot. He wasn't the Wolfman anymore.
Yes, Safi.
It was daytime.
It's not Larry Talbot. It's Larry...
Talbot. Larry Talbot.
Why were you calling him Larry Taliban?
No, Marco.
He's not a part of the Taliban.
No, I wasn't.
Hey, you were.
No, I wasn't.
Liar.
Let's just move on.
But anyways, it all leads to him going to meet with Elsa from the last movie. And see, when I first saw this movie as a kid, I was like, who's this random blonde woman that they're so, like, focused on? And it's like, it's because I didn't see Ghost of Frankenstein. And I thought it was cool they continued on with that character, because it's like, that's what I was saying at the end of last movie. Like, oh, what, is she just going to have a happy ending even though she's in the Frankenstein family? Like, I thought it was great that she got to be a part of the story too, and that she had to be like a main player. Now, I really didn't like a couple of things in this movie. Let's see if Safi can guess.
You didn't like the psychiatrist.
Who's that? The guy?
The guy.
Yeah, I didn't like him at all.
Mannering or Mannering.
Yeah. Dr. F. Mannering. Yeah. I hated that guy. He's so boring. He's so white bread. He is younger. He's not like an old dad like the Frankenstein of last movie, but he was so boring. He's just like, I am a leading man, and I am here so that I can hug the pretty woman. Oh no! Oh no! There's a monster over there! Oh no! Let me hug you instead of taking you to safety. Oh no! This is so terrible. Oh, nothing like this could ever happen in America.
It wasn't America. They were in Europe.
Yeah, but that's the message of the movie. And so, but he just screams like beta male. He just screams like fake, phony, Universal Pictures leading man. He's like this big giant white bread fuck, and he's just like, ooh, oh no, oh, it's something scary over there. Oh no, oh.
Well, it's kind of like, this is kind of like a layered movie.
Like, did you like that guy? What did you think about him?
He didn't do anything. I guess he was kind of
He was
like,
just boring,
he was kind
though.
of like the adhesive between the layers. The layers are, you've got the big layer, and that's really the Wolfman.
Your mom's a layer.
Because the Wolfman goes and sees the gypsy woman from the Wolfman movie, and he has heard about Dr. Frankenstein, or she has, and so they travel via a wagon all the way there from wherever they were, and then in the middle you have this doctor, and he kind of just shows up. He's traveled apparently after them surreptitiously. So every time he's killed somebody, I guess he's been to that village. He found out he kills, as Wolfman.
It's kind of like that Indiana Jones thing where they show the little dots on the map.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
But the problem is, right now, here, in reality, it's a full moon. The full moon doesn't last forever and ever and ever. It only lasts for, a few days. And then it shrinks.
For a month.
It doesn't last for a month.
I said it goes away for a month, and then it comes back.
Yeah, right. It's like...
It's once a month.
Once a month. So, I mean, so he's following from village to village. They don't show this. It's just when they end up at Frankenstein Castle's village, he shows up there and says, I've been doing this. But the moon's been full that whole time? Really?
The doctors, and I hate to jump ahead because it's something that Safi does. It's really bad. Kind of ruins the reviews. But the doctor character, his plot doesn't make any sense at all.
No,
because
I don't understand it.
He basically becomes power hungry, and he says this. He says, I want to see the monster at his ultimate power.
Yeah,
or something.
It's really, and I've said this in other reviews, it's antithetical to his character.
What's up with that?
He's not like that at all.
I want to see the monster at his ultimate power.
And he didn't show it. He didn't act it.
And
at all.
Yeah, he just acts like...
He's very mild-mannered and calm. He really is like a therapist.
Yeah.
And this thing about becoming from a mild-mannered therapist who used to talking to his patients and listening to their problems to this maniacal person, it didn't work because he didn't act maniacal at all. It was like weird. And the woman who has come there because she wants to sell the place, which I thought they already had the place. I
thought they destroyed it or whatever,
well,
but that's
destroyed. But I guess the land.
I don't know.
Oh God! The more I think about, there's more weird stuff.
I guess they just didn't care. They just wanted to make a movie, and but he wants to see the monster at his ultimate power, and then he sees that, and the monster like kind of fights with him, and then all of a sudden the guy's just like, oh, whatever, bye, and he just runs off with the girl.
Which is good, though, because of what happens.
Well, but it doesn't make any sense, because it's like, oh, well, that motivation was literally just there so that the monster would become at his full power, so he would fight the Wolfman at his full power. It wasn't for any character reason, because after that he's just like, oh, who cares?
Well, that's what the bottom layer is, the Frankenstein part.
That's
and
the worst
woman,
part.
And then the doctor is kind of the person who weaves, and the gypsy woman, it kind of weaves between the two layers.
There's also this long music sequence where there's like a singing thing going on in the town.
Well, they're having a festival.
That was weird.
Well, I thought it was interesting.
I thought it was stupid, and it was just kind of a filler thing.
It's almost kind of like, instead of all the other movies we've seen, I think every single one of them, when you say cue the townspeople, it means they're going to rush the castle and burn it down or let it explode.
In this movie, it means they're going to have an Austin Powers gay romp. What do you call it? A flash mob, or what do they call it? Yeah. They have a flash mob in the middle of the town, and then the monster comes out, and he's like, oh, nobody fucking cares about this bullshit!
Well, he didn't say that, but everybody starts running and screaming, and tables get overturned, and Larry Talbot grabs the horses of a cart that I think it's loaded with beer.
And he goes full Donkey Kong, the monster, and he's pushing off the barrels to the townspeople to kill them.
I thought
like
they were
Donkey
gonna break.
Kong.
They don't break.
That was Donkey Kong.
Well, they didn't know about Donkey Kong back then, but this is the predecessor to Donkey Kong.
Well, I think that Bela... What do you think about Bela Lugosi's performance as the monster? Because...
Well, it's kind of underrated. I don't know.
Underrated?
He
what do you
didn't get
mean?
to do much. Except at the end, you have the two layers, with the little middle was the doctor and the girl and the gypsy, kind of like going between the layers, trying to weave this weird story together.
This weird story.
The story is the Wolfman. It's a tragedy. He doesn't want to be a Wolfman anymore. In fact, he says it. It's like in the line at the end of the movie. He says, "I wasn't made. Something bit me and turned me into this." So it's like he doesn't. I don't think he says this, but it's a curse, and he can't get rid of it. He'll be living forever. And every time it's a full moon, he's going to kill people. He doesn't want to live like that. And then Frankie the monster, I'm not sure what that's supposed to be about.
He's kind of weird, and we don't get to see very much of him. And
no, not really.
I think we should have had the version where he talked, because there was probably more footage of him in that version, and there was more
Bela was disappointed.
Probably. I mean, I don't know. Well, I don't know. But he does this weird thing in the movie, too, where he makes a weird noise. Can you imitate the noise that he made through the movie? Like,
no.
when he'd get mad, he'd go like... No, he'd go like... And my cat just like... What the fuck? But that's what he would do. It's almost like a vampire type of thing. Like, he was like...
Yeah. And he probably had to practice it, because if he was talking and then they erased it, then he had to come up with something else. So he had to practice doing whatever he was going to do in front of the director.
He made
see what sounds the best.
And he made a really funny face too the whole movie, where he would go like this. He would go like...
Yeah. Which he didn't need to do any of that, because he was made up. But another thing, too, and Marco pointed this out the last movie, is that Lon Chaney Jr. is a big guy.
Yeah.
And he's huge. And you can see this. And the guy playing Frankie, which is Bela Lugosi, which is weird, he's short. So they had to...
they made him tall, though.
Yeah, between the makeup or the attire, the costume, and the way they did the photography, the way they shot the scenes, you don't see probably a discernible difference between the two, between their heights. But I don't know. I guess the Frankenstein thing, just like Marco said, we think it's there. You know, what happens is they go to the castle. We've already said he's in the town, and he runs, and he falls into this like area where it's been all exploded.
Safi, don't go back to that.
But anyway,
what are you doing?
What? Okay, I can't.
You're like a VHS machine. You're like, it's like rewind. Let's go back to the beginning of the movie.
No, that's not the beginning of the movie at all. It's near the end.
Where he discovers the monster in the ice?
Yeah, whatever.
No, that's like in the beginning of the movie.
No,
Safi.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, God.
Safi, sometimes
Marco, shush up.
Did you even watch the movie?
Oh,
Safi?
for heaven's sake!
No, I saw her watch the movie. It's just that sometimes I'm doubtful about her true motives.
Oh my God.
Her sinister motives.
Okay, well, anyway,
but
it's the thing is, I think Marcos already brought this up, that we think that what you know, like I said, Frankenstein's his part's like the lowest layer, but the thing is, he's not really, they don't show him a lot. And he's already said that. And we think he's there so they can, because you never see the Wolfman in all his furriness and devilness. Whenever he's around Frankie, he's just Larry Talbot. He's got a suit on. He has nice hair. He's all slicked back. He's all cleaned up. But then it sets up that they get into this big fight. And I don't even know what the fight's about. Oh, well, he grabs the girl. Of course, she's got to be, like I said, she's one of the three people.
She's to me, she's the weakest character of the movie because...
Yeah, and she was so glamorous. She's wearing diamonds. Yeah. And I think she colored her hair more. So it's really extra platinum.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. This is a little village in the mountains. Why would you be dressed like that?
Safi's like, wow!
Well, I mean, that part. But she was one of the three people who were the figures who were weaving these two layers together. And so in the end, you know, you have this innocuous doctor.
Well, what I wanted to say is...
Okay.
It kind of followed the formula of the end of Ghost of Frankenstein because there's another kind of bait and switch betrayal thing where the doctor was supposed to kill them both. He made that deal with Elsa, but then he wanted to only kill the Wolfman and then give the monster unlimited power. So then she finds out...
And that didn't make any sense.
She flips a switch, and then the monster gets mad at her, and then that's when there's a fight. And the fight, I think, is probably one of the best parts of the movie, obviously.
Yeah, it was.
It doesn't last that long, though, but at the same time, like, it's really cool because it was so... It was... I think for that time period, like, it was really, really, like, impressive that they did that. Because, you know, nowadays, I mean, we've never had a Michael Myers versus Jason. You know, like, you'd think that would have happened by now. We have Freddy versus Jason, but nothing else.
And it was no good.
Yeah.
We saw all of those.
Ugh.
I don't like it at all. It's stupid. It was not what it should have been at all.
God,
if it would have been me,
Safi.
I would have changed it.
God!
No, it really wasn't very good at all. Terrible.
And I gotta say, still, the one versus that I really want to see in terms of classic monsters, and I've said this before years ago, is I want to see Dr. Jekyll versus Frankenstein, because you have two mad scientists, and you'd think that's like a given that they would have a versus movie. Right?
Dr. Jekyll versus Dr. Frankenstein?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because they're both mad scientists.
Yeah, but Dr. Frankenstein doesn't change himself.
That doesn't matter. You could have the monster versus Mr. Hyde, is what I'm saying. But still, still, the concept alone, it's like, why have they not ever done that?
I don't know. They probably never thought about it.
Or anything with the Mummy, you know, they know that the Mummy sucks. They're like, you know,
The Mummy's boring, and I've seen a few of those, and
they're really boring. We used to rent them from Hollywood Video, and I would get really excited to watch them, and then I would put it on and I would fall asleep.
well, I got really upset about one of them, and I can't remember because they did something in it that was just absolutely asinine. I'll just put it like that, and I got really angry. But anyway, so you set all this up. You've got these three characters, and they're really very weak. And, you know, I guess if you wanted to tie the last movie and this movie, and so you bring Elsa in, but like I said, she's glammed herself up to come to the village in the middle of the mountains where they're suspicious.
I think it's cool because
small townish.
It's a contrast with all the other characters, and
it was a very big. She had all these diamonds. I mean, she had these huge diamond earrings.
I didn't really find her attractive, but
well,
you know.
I just couldn't believe all the glam for this movie. It just didn't make it. Wasn't Hollywood. It wasn't New York City. It wasn't London. It wasn't Paris. This was Nowheresville, the village.
Really?
Where the village people live. And then we've got the other, this is called the surprise element, which is called the stupid surprise element. And cue the townspeople.
Well, yeah, I would say it would be really funny. You know how they had the Andy Griffith show? Well, what if you had the Frankenstein townspeople show, where the whole show is like a sitcom around the townspeople? Like they're always forming mobs, and they're just like terrible people. They don't have anything to do.
It's like they have an on. Well, they don't. They have an on and off switch.
Yeah.
So turn on, go mob the castle.
Let's go kill
turn
people.
Off, go back and have a party in the village, or let's go back to our houses and drink beer. I mean, it's just,
I want to know, like, what's the crime rate in the Frankenstein village? Like,
nothing.
Are these
petty thievery? Maybe
Is there any loitering? There's a lot of loitering in that village. You know, you just have people standing around waiting to form a mob.
Well, do you want me? But anyway, you've got this one villager.
Yeah, talk about it.
And he's a bad boy because he is a troublemaker and an instigator. And of course, we've seen what instigators and troublemaker combined can do.
Yeah, we've seen what Safi
about
can do.
inciting mobs.
We've seen what Safi can do.
He did it again. They cue the townspeople, but you cue this guy first. He was kind of like another person to weave into the story. Only this is the surprise part of the story. This is like the caboose on the train. He's got to finish out the movie, and they're very suspicious because they've seen packages come in that say the doctor's name. They know the doctor's name. What is he doing with all those big boxes of machinery?
Yeah, it's really funny because
they're
it's just
very suspicious.
every single year, like, there's a new mad scientist who moves into the castle and,
they have
does
his name
experiments.
printed on the boxes.
Yeah.
And because the machinery that they thought they had destroyed,
They had to repair it all.
they were repairable. They weren't really, quote, destroyed. They were repairable. If they were destroyed, they wouldn't be repairable, right? So, and so they're like, what's going on over there?
What were they doing? By the way, what were they doing the whole time, the monster and the Wolfman, while these machines were being repaired and sent back and forth? Like,
Nothing.
because that would have been like 2 weeks. So what were they doing in there? In that castle?
Nobody was getting killed.
What's up with that?
Because probably there's no full moon, so therefore he wasn't going to change into the
What's up with
Wolfman.
that?
I don't know.
What's
But see,
up with that?
That's another attachment
Yeah.
to the story where you have a machine and you have a part of the machine that doesn't work. So that's the part that doesn't work because they're not doing any work. They're not doing anything.
It reminds me of in Better Call Saul. And see, this is the problem when you make like a drama show like this. They show the whole of Breaking Bad, it took place within a year and a half to 2 years. The whole series.
Wow, really?
So a lot happened in that short time period. It didn't feel
lot.
like 1 to 2 years. Well, then in Better Call Saul, all of a sudden, the show starts doing these montages and skipping through time like nothing happened for months and months and months in this universe. And it just feels like this is very disingenuous and lazy.
Well, but we already know they've cut some of the stuff out.
And
so what did they cut out?
I don't know.
From this part.
Well, there is a picture of them chatting in the ice. Frankenstein and the Wolfman, or Larry.
Oh.
So, they did shoot a scene like that where they talked in the ice. They got to know each other.
Okay, so anyway, cue the townspeople. Well, we're really suspicious, and I think we should go check them out. And you know what? There's a dam right next to there, and we can flood them out or whatever. So if they're doing something bad, I mean, we're seeing this kind of thing today. If, no evidence, just if, I can blow this bad guy. I can blow the dam up, and it'll flood them. And so
what if they were curing AIDS?
What the inspector says, now, wait a minute, you better stop it. This is what you're saying is terrible, and we're not like that, and you can't do that. Same kinds of things we're hearing today, and so they all go, but it's really suspicious now. They can't help themselves, so they go there. But the bad guy, he goes off by himself, and what does he do? He sets up explosive charges at the dam. And so while they have this big fight, because Frankie got mad and he picked up that girl, and Wolfman actually defended her and started fighting. And then that doctor... And
I think, by the way, I say fuck you to the people who made this movie, because remember, in the last movie, Evelyn Akers! She played Elsa. And she was in The Wolfman. Oh. It would have made so much sense if the Wolfman protected her because she reminded him of that girl.
Oh, that would have been...
And that would have made perfect sense. But they said, no, we can't do that because it would just make too much sense.
And
boom!
It is. I mean, when he turns into Wolfman... He doesn't have any semblance of humanity anymore. But he was in this situation.
Yeah.
Because he tries to help her. So he's fighting Frankie. And so they have this big fight. They show a lot of it, which isn't really a lot. And then cue the townspeople and cue the bad guy. He blows it up. And here comes the water. Well, the doctor and Elsa, they've already started getting away, so they're out of the way. They're not in any danger, maybe. And you never see the gypsy. I don't even know what happened to her.
I don't either. What happened to her? Did she get taken by ice?
She just disappeared. Yeah, I know, really. Like they're up to every day, doing it every day, every minute of the day.
With you?
With masks over their faces.
With you.
Why? Is that permitted? And why does that have to be done?
Did they take the gypsy to El Salvador?
No, they arrested the mayor of Newark.
Did they take the gypsy to El Salvador?
I'm not going to go into more of this, but anyway. But the thing is, the way they show the camera angle, the dum-dum villager who blows up the dam. What do you think happens when the dam gets blown up and the water comes flowing forward?
It's going to flood the
Where's
town.
Where's it going to go? It floods the town. That's what it's going to do. That's what it looks like it's going to do, don't you think?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
How stupid can you get?
You don't do that type of thing, I mean,
it's stupid.
The mayor could have told him that.
Well, he was trying to be reasonable, but this guy, it's what we see right now. He just has a mind of his own. He can do it every damn well places, so he just does it. And so and that's when they cut it off. It's over.
Frankenstein
Goodbye.
versus the Wolfman. Let's talk about their fighting style. Their fighting styles. So Wolfman's fighting style is that he climbs things and then he jumps off of them.
Because he's shorter.
No, because he wants the high ground. You know, like, I have the high ground! It's over, Frankenstein's monster!
Well, but I think it's because he's short.
And then the Frankenstein's monster, he's like this, look. And he just stands there with his arms out like he's gonna molest someone, you know, like he's
Frankenstein's short.
He just stands there like this, like ah, and he just picks stuff up and throws it. And it's funny because earlier in the movie, there's this scene where the monster cannot get like a door open, and the Wolfman Larry has to help him, and then he can't even pick up a box, and Larry has to pick it up. So there's kind of like an inconsistency of like strength here for the characters.
I think the problem is that their sizes, and they have to compensate in different ways for the camera, the way the camera shoots them. Because remember, Larry, the big guy, is the Wolfman. And, you know, in the last movie, who played Frankenstein?
Well, guess what? They
Larry.
actually were going to have him play both in this movie originally.
How would they have done that scene at the end?
A stunt double, I guess.
Oh,
but
God. I guess so.
That would have been interesting, actually, because I think, and I know that this is probably a controversial opinion, I think that Lon Chaney's Frankenstein's monster is better than Lugosi's.
Well, I don't.
And also Karloff's.
I just think Lugosi wanted the work. He probably didn't want to play it.
No, he
knows?
did, because he passed up, I guess, on playing Frankenstein originally. So this was like his chance to do it, and we didn't even get to see it, basically. We hardly got to see it at all.
No.
And I just thought it was really underwhelming. You know, he basically hissed like a vampire, like.
Yeah, and see, that's something they should have worked on.
Yeah.
Because if they went to this much trouble to where he was talking, saying words, and they took it out, and then they actually reshot scenes, if they're going to do that much trouble with that part, they should have worked on how he was going to sound, and what would be the best way, or the best sounds that he would make.
Really?
So anyway,
Really?
I think the Wolfman part of the movie was really good.
I think I think that Lon Chaney Jr. once again, he is such a good actor. He gave like an Oscar-worthy performance. But I gotta say too, the doctor at the end, he just runs away with that girl. But why would the girl want to run away with him after what he just tried to do?
Well,
you know,
she knew it too. She tried to stop him. She recognized his behavior.
There's no discussion
as when she
there.
saw her father.
There's no discussion there about character or anything, and
they don't
just
talk really. She just says, "Stop! Don't do that."
It's that same that agenda where it's like the pretty guy has to run off with the pretty girl at the end of the Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
And
let the monsters get killed.
I am glad that they did that back then, because nowadays it's like, you know, it's just there's nothing, and it's like the agenda is like strong women, independent women, all that bullshit. And so
There's nothing wrong with it. The way they do
yeah,
it,
there is.
It's gone overboard, and
it's
wrong.
Not even
realistic.
It's wrong, and it's bad.
It's just not
because
realistic.
Back then the female characters were a lot stronger. They were a lot more independent. Elsa's character, she was a strong, independent woman.
Yeah, she was.
The whole movie.
She was actually, she was the chief negotiator for selling the property.
She saved the day at the end.
Yeah.
So, like, there you have it. Like, back then, even though they had, you know, the traditional gender roles and all that, it's like, they still had strong, independent female characters. It's almost like you don't have to turn women into men nowadays to make them strong and independent.
And she I guess the thing I didn't like was the glam. The glam was out of place.
Yeah, Safi doesn't want her to be attractive.
No, she didn't need the glam. I'm sorry. But look, I've been to like a third world country that was basically labeled as a fourth world country. You could never wear any of that. People come up and rip it off you and steal it. They would knock you down.
So what are you saying? You wanted them to have what are you saying? You wanted them to have an attempted gang rape scene with the townspeople or something?
Need to glam her up.
What's up with that?
She could wear her high fashion, which she was wearing magnificent clothing, like this hat that was amazing. Her clothes, I mean, it's just like she was in Paris. And she was going to go see the Mona Lisa. I mean, really. Or go to London. And, it's just really ridiculous. It's just a little bit too glammy for a little village in the mountains. Okay? Where it's cold, and all you have to worry about there is staying warm and getting fed.
And Frankenstein.
The visiting monster Wolfman.
And
that's not his village.
And the Rue Morgue. Remember Murders in the Rue Morgue?
Yeah.
What is a Rue Morgue?
Rue Morgue.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Because
that's Edgar Allan Poe.
I've seen that movie twice. That has Bela Lugosi. I've seen it twice, but I can't remember a single thing about it, and I don't know what the words Rue Morgue mean together. What is a Rue Morgue?
Well, it's French, I think, R-U-E, and I don't know. I'm sorry.
I know that morgue is for, like dead people and everything, but what's the Rue part? Is it like there's gravy in the dead people?
Well, I was wondering if it was river, but I don't know. I don't think it is.
They should have had a Murders in the Rue Morgue crossover with Frankenstein.
So anyway, this is a layered movie.
Yeah, Safi said that.
So...
She likes layers.
They're not all like that at all. But the layer I like I said, was the Wolfman part, because he was cursed, and he really had a need, and his need was to be dead. He didn't want to go be around, and the rest of his life, every time there's a full moon, he kills. And for as long as there's a full moon, like let's say there's 4 nights of it or something, he kills people. He doesn't want to do that anymore. And he didn't ask for this to happen. He got bitten. And because he got bitten, he's a monster. He turns into this monster.
Can I give my food review?
Go ahead, because I'm not sure what to do.
Beat this, Safi.
Oh,
Earlier today, we went to Wendy's.
Oh, okay.
And... See, Safi was like, oh yeah, I was going to do that too.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it.
And because it's like a crossover thing. They have what's called Frosty Swirls now. And
Well, tell them what kind they have.
They've got caramel vanilla, they've got brownie batter, and they've got strawberry. And you can either get them all in vanilla or chocolate. And actually on the 12th, they're going to be releasing other flavors like strawberry Pop-Tart and Oreo. So, but I got a vanilla brownie batter. Safi got a vanilla strawberry. And of course she starts coughing right when I'm talking.
Okay, go ahead.
On purpose.
No, I don't.
But I was kind of... Because I thought, like, it was a good Frosty, I guess, but I hardly got any of the brownie batter. Like, the brownie batter by itself was really good, but I hardly got any of that. It was basically just a vanilla Frosty with chocolate sauce, and there wasn't very much of it, and so you didn't really get that full crossover feel. And I feel like it's the same thing with this movie, where it's more of a Wolfman movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like, as a Frankenstein movie, it's really, really weak. I mean, you could not...
No, there's not much to it.
You could not say that this is a great Frankenstein movie.
No.
Because the Frankenstein element is trash, and it's hardly even there. So, but then again, I mean, the whole thing is about, like, let's have these two monsters fight. I mean, that's the whole point of the movie.
And that's the end of it.
They did succeed at that. And at the bottom of the Frosty, you do get more of the brownie batter, so just like with the movie. And so, boom! That's my food review. Safi,
Well, I
beat
have
that.
kind of a similar one.
Beat
because
that.
I have the strawberry swirl.
Oh, God.
And so at the top, you've got the two layers. And then they go swirl, swirl, swirl down to the bottom. And the bottom is the heaviest. So that's like the movie. You go through this thing, Wolfman's looking for Dr. Frankenstein. He wants his notes. That's what he wants, because he wants to use his knowledge to destroy himself. Basically, that's what he wants. And
That's a really interesting idea, by the way.
And it sounds weird to me, but he tells that to Elsa, because he says because he makes this pretension, I guess that's the word, that he wants to buy the property. And so the inspector or mayor sets up the meeting between him, and he's from a wealthy family. So he's wearing nice clothes. He looks really nice. He's all dressed up. And he meets her, but then he tells her why he's really there. But he doesn't tell her the whole thing, how he changes into Wolfman at the full moon and all that. He just says he needs the notes. And she pretends like they're all destroyed, but guess what? They're not. She knows where they're hidden, and she ends up giving it up and getting it for him. But anyway, so you go through this movie. You've got this journey. The gypsy woman takes him to this place. It's a long way, a few days away, and so it's like the swirl. So the beginning, it winds down. You eat more of it and go down to the bottom. I had a small one. You go down to the bottom, and there's a lot of strawberry, and then you have the remaining vanilla frosty part, whatever. And that's the end of the story. That's the two monsters fighting, and then the flood. The dumb villager who blows up the dam, which probably floods his own town. It freaks me out. I mean, God. This is just a movie, but my God, these things are happening in real life.
I want to. Safi's getting hysterical, so I want to.
Something happened.
I want to add something to the end, which is apparently the writer of the movie. I can't remember where I just saw this, but I should have screenshotted it. Apparently, the writer said, in reference to the movie, he said, "I love whipped cream, and I loved herring." And so I wanted to combine the two, or I thought it would be fun to combine the two, and that's what I did with this movie or something. So he gave essentially like a food review to this movie. So isn't that interesting?
It is interesting.
It's almost like I'm ahead of the curve, on the evolutionary scale. I'm kind of like the peak man. I'm kind of like alpha, but better. And so...
Whatever.
I came up with that. And
that's weird.
Well, that's fun, though. It's a fun thing.
Fun. It doesn't make any sense to me, but...
It doesn't, because Frankenstein is like pistachio ice cream, and the Wolfman, he's like chocolate ice cream or something, and,
He's like coffee ice cream.
Yeah.
Or a coffee flavor, like a kind of a strong coffee. Like with those candies, those coffee candies, they're crunchy, they're like the coffee beans, or candied coffee beans.
But Frankenstein, he is definitely pistachio. Remember, that's how they said it in Leave It to Beaver?
Oh.
Larry. Or, no, not Larry. What's that?
Eddie.
No, Lumpy. He's like, I want pistachio.
Yeah. You can see we watch old stuff, but those things were around when I was young.
Yeah, we're reviewing Leave It to Beaver. Safi's just dragging it out.
I hate it.
She's ruining the channel.
I just don't like it. I'm sorry. I grew up with that stuff, and it's just like, there's things about I didn't like then. And it's funny how today, at my elder age, I won't say, I remember those things, and they're still true. The things I didn't like about them, they're still true for me today as they were back then.
I like it all for the most part, because the society was much better back then.
Well,
And,
it's
is
interesting.
They really went too far on the other side of the scale.
Some of the stuff nowadays. They just did go too far. We saw this one about driving, and Beaver accidentally rolls the car into the street. He can't drive. He's a kid, a little kid. Wally is going to be able to drive very shortly. I think he might have his learner's permit. And all he does, because he's holding up the traffic on the road, is he drives the car into the driveway. Because it's rolled out onto the street a little bit, like 3 feet or something. And all he does, and the cops give him a ticket and make him go to court because he doesn't have a license.
Because he solved a problem.
He solved the problem. But they went over, like Marco said, they went overboard. I don't know how we're getting this.
I'm saying that nowadays they've gone overboard.
Well, that was overboard in another way. It was ridiculous, but I believe it. I believe that stupid kind of stuff would happen.
Yeah.
And it's stupid.
And of course the policeman would be completely framed as the good guy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think that in this case, the judge thought he was a dipshit.
Yeah,
He didn't say that, but he thought, why are we... Because they have cases, could be serious cases, and we're wasting the court's time with this BS.
So anyways, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, in my opinion, is a great movie. I watched it a lot as a kid, and we owned it when I was a kid on VHS. And we still own it, too. I still have it. So, next up will be House of Frankenstein. Safi?
Alright, so we're almost at our 700th subscriber.
Yeah, we just need one more, and then one more for safety, because whenever you get to a milestone, some jackass unsubscribes.
Yeah. So, anyway, if you want to become one of our subscribers, come on down. And if you've seen this movie, or you've seen any of the Frankenstein movies, or Wolfman, what do you think of them? And what do you think about the actors? Have you ever read about the Cheneys? Lon Chaney and his son? It's really interesting. Very, very interesting story. And so anyway, that's it. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.